Warning, the following episode contains descriptions of violence, adult language, and horror movies. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello everyone, welcome back to the CMP podcast. This is your host, ChristinaPlourd, as always. So today's episode's kind of going to be a different kind of episode. If you remember, or if you don't know, a couple weeks ago we actually did a giveaway on our Instagram, and the winner actually got to pick what one of the episodes was going to be for this week for one of the Halloween series. I just thought it would be good, cool thing to do, and to repay you guys for what you guys have done for me. Give me one second. I'm just scrolling so I can get the exact girl's name, because she did win. I mean, she deserves to be recognized, you know? So her name is Tori Vigorito. Her Instagram name is @ToriVig. If you guys want to look there. She's super sweet from the time that I talked to her. Such a nice girl. Her idea was to do top 5 90s Halloween movies and why. So I can narrow it down to 5, but I do have my top ones. I have 7 instead of 5. No, 8. I have 8 instead of 5. So we are going to get right in it. Before we get started, don't forget to enter into our giveaway. It does end on Saturday. By the time you guys are going to be hearing this, it's going to be Friday, so you'll have 24 hours left to enter. There's a t-shirt, there's a face mask. It's pretty fucking cool. If you're interested in winning one for free, go enter there. And other than that, let's jump right in, you know? So, let's start. Which one should we start with? Oh my god, I'm like so excited to talk about them. I'm so excited. Alright, so we're going to start with Sleepy Hollow. Sleepy Hollow, for those who do not know, it's the film adaptation based off Washington Irving's 1820 story of the legend of Sleepy Hollow, and it has Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci as the main characters. The plot follows Ichabod Crane, who is played by Johnny Depp, who was sent from New York City to investigate the murders in the village of Sleepy Hollow by a mysterious headless horseman. It's a very, slasher movie. The first time I saw this movie was at school. It was my movie class. I forgot the exact name of the class, but we were just analyzing different movies, and so we watched this movie there. It was released on November 17th, 1999, so it's towards the end of the movies, and it was directed by Tim Burton, and I love Tim Burton, the stuff he's created. What's funny is I have another movie on this list that has Christina Ricci in it, and I have another movie on this list that was directed by Tim Burton. It's a great movie. I definitely recommend seeing it. I like how it's spooky. It's a very overcast look on the entire movie. There's not bright colors or anything, and it's not super slasher Scream and stuff, but it still makes you jump and kind of uneasy, you know? And it's one of the first movies from the 90s that it still looks like even now it could have come from now. It looks very updated, you know? So that is my number 1. We're gonna start with that one. That's the number 1, and it's called a gothic supernatural horror film, if you were interested in the exact kind of it. So next one. So here is my other Tim Burton. It is The Nightmare Before Christmas. I know, it's not considered super horror, but it can't be a Halloween episode if we don't talk about The Nightmare Before Christmas, because it's literally talking about fucking Halloween. And it's amazing. I fucking love it. So it's a quote, stop motion animated musical dark fantasy directed by Henry Selick and produced and conceived by Tim Burton. It was released on October 29th, 1993 in the United States. The movie tells the story of Jack Skellington, the king of quote Halloween Town, who kind of at the beginning of the movie, he comes upon kind of a portal, and it brings him to, quote, Christmas Town, and he becomes basically obsessed with celebrating the holiday of Christmas, and the presents, and the beard, and everything. He meets a girl there as well, so there's also, like, a love story in it, which is super cute. It's very, like, it was made in Disney. Like, it's a Tim Burton movie, but it was made in Disney, so it's very, like, it's like spooky, but it's not like a horror film. Like, I would show this to my kid because it's not that scary. I don't think. I mean, at a certain age, because some of the characters in it, that like the creatures and stuff, to like a little kid, they'd probably be scary. But like once you hit 10, it's not that scary. It's like a cartoon almost. It's so cute. I love it. I love it. I try and watch The Nightmare Before Christmas every Halloween. It's like a tradition of mine because it's so good. And I'm like curled up right here in front of the laptop, in front of the mic, like in my blanket, sweatpants, sweatshirt, living my best. It is fucking cold out, guys. No, I'm going off on a tangent. You're like, what the fuck are you talking about? You were just talking about a movie. But it is cold outside. Winter came around and fucking punched us in the face. It's supposed to snow here tomorrow. It's not even November. I'm not ready. I have no snow boots. I need a new winter jacket. It's just, I'm just not prepared for the winter. I thought I still had like 2 months left. But no. I have 24 hours. It's terrible. I'm not ready. I'm going to be cuddled up in a bed under 17 million blankets. But it's funny because during the summer, I don't like it being hot. But like I want to be warm during the winter. But I want it to be like cold outside of the blankets, so I can like cuddle up in the blankets, you know? And then if I get hot, I can just like stick a foot out. Does anyone else do that? You get hot and you stick a foot out? I actually read up on it the other day. It says because your heat comes from like your phalanges and your toes and your head. So if you stick one of those things out, the rest of your body cools down. Didn't know that. It's actually scientifically proven. All right, we're going back to the episode. I'm sorry. I just went off on a fucking tangent. I'm just so cold. My toes feel like they're going to fall off. Anyways, so the next one. Oh boy, the next one is, can we have a drum roll, please? The Silence of the Lambs. And if you've never seen Silence of the Lambs, be prepared to not sleep for like 5 days. Okay? It came out in 1991, specifically January 30th, 1991 in New York City, and February 14th, 1991 for the rest of the United States. But it's one of those movies at the end you're like, what the fuck did we just watch? It's fucking wild. So, this movie, it's like psychological horror. It was directed by Jonathan Demme from a screenplay written by Ted Talley, adapted from Thomas Harris's 1988 novel, The Silence of the Lambs. The film stars Jodie Foster, love her, Queen, love her, as Clarice Starling, a FBI trainee who is pulled out from her training to apprehend a serial killer known only as, quote, Buffalo Bill, who skins his female victims' corpses. For this, she has to create a psychological profile and seeks the advice of the imprisoned Dr. Hannibal Lecter. Hannibal are great fucking movies too, but they didn't make the list. They did not make the list. Dr. Hannibal Lecter, a psychiatrist and cannibalistic serial killer. That shit fucks with me. Hannibal fucks with me because he's a psychologist, so he studies people that do these things, but he's also one of these things. So he knows them the best because he's just like them. Like, what? Can you think about, do you think there's a lot of psychologists and psychiatrists that are quote unquote like crazy like that? Like they're like serial killers, or they have thoughts of doing that to people, but they went to school to do this so that they can understand him. Oh, that shit. I was like, how is he that and that? I thought you're only supposed to be one of those. I thought they don't cross. Anyways, Anthony Hopkins plays Hannibal Lecter, and Ted Levine plays Bill, Buffalo Bill. The novel was Harris's first and second to feature the characters of Starling and Lecter, and was the second adaptation of a Harris novel to feature Lecter, preceded by the Michael Mann-directed Manhunter. That's all I'm gonna fucking say, because the shit that you see in this film, and you didn't see, but I literally just took my glasses off just like to really... The shit that you see in this film is gory. It's also like it's just, it like fucks with your head. It's not even like gory, it's just like, just the stuff he says and like tracking this guy down, it like makes you think of like the world around. Isn't it like, I mean, isn't that why we do the podcast? Like, because we're like thinking of the world around us and stuff, but it's fucking scary. It's scary. All right, we're going to leave it at that. So my next one, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. So, fair warning. When it comes to A Nightmare on Elm Street, and this is also called A Nightmare on Elm Street 7, might I add you, I do feel, and I would love to know your opinion on this, I do feel that the Freddy Krueger sort of, not, what's the word when it's just a bunch of movies, whatever, all the Freddy Krueger movies, they're overdone. This one is my favorite because I feel like it's different from the rest, but I don't really like any of the other ones, because I don't personally feel like Halloween is, I wanted to put Halloween on this list because it is one of my top ones. But I feel like that's everyone's favorite movie. You know? And I if you know horror and scary, you know who Michael Myers is. Everyone likes those fucking movies. But Wes Craven's Elm Street, they're great movies. I understand why people like them. I personally feel like they have no fucking storyline. I don't like how every movie is a new story. I like how, like, to go back to Halloween, I like how Halloween follows a storyline to some extent, because in the movies, and there's also spin-offs of them not following the storyline and being about something different. But for the most part, they reference the storyline and it continues to be the same. It's not the same with these. But the seventh one is different, because instead of portraying him as a fictional, as like a real thing, they portray him as a movie villain who invades the real world and haunts the cast and crew involved in making the films about him. So it kind of like combines the two, which I liked. Wes Craven said that in this specific movie, he was more, like, Freddy Krueger himself was more along the lines of what Wes Craven wanted him to be versus the other ones. He was much more menacing, and he was less comical with an updated clothing and appearance. So, do you see what I mean? Like, this one's a lot different than the other ones, which... That's my point. Like, The other Nightmare on Elm Streets, it's kind of like Freddy's a joke. Like, I never understood, like, Freddy versus Jason. I always thought that was fucking stupid. I didn't really see the point in crossing them over. It was a good movie. It's a good, like, jump scare, like, slasher film. Just didn't understand the point. Does that make sense? Personally. Oh, and this movie was released on October 14th, 1994. So yeah. So, we are moving on to the next one. And I will put, quick sidebar, I will put on Instagram pictures of these movies, like the DVD covers, so you guys can all see what they are. And I'll try and see if I can find most of the places that these movies are, if you guys are interested in buying them, or renting them or watching them, whatever you want to do, because I feel like no one rents anymore. We just kind of use fucking Netflix and Hulu and Amazon, you know? But I think most of these are on one of those three. Or even YouTube, somewhere like that. So my next one, and I posted a picture of a woman who is in this movie the other day on my Instagram. And so if you paid attention to my Instagram, you may know who I'm talking about. But we are going to talk about The Bride of Chucky. Yes. This movie was released on October 16th, 1998. And the woman that I featured on my Instagram, because I'm fucking obsessed with her, is Jennifer Tilly. Jennifer Tilly in The Bride of Chucky is fucking unmatched. I love that movie. So it's the fourth movie in the Child's Play franchise. That's the word I was thinking of earlier. Fucking the Freddy Krueger franchise, or the Halloween franchise. I said just movies. My brain stopped working for a second. So, Jennifer Tilly is the voice of Tiffany, who is the bride. Brad Dourif is the voice of Chucky. And Katherine Heigl from Grey's Anatomy is in this movie as well. It was written by Don Mancini as a comedy slasher film and directed by Ronnie Yu. And and this movie was followed by The Seed of Chucky. If you don't know what seed is, when they mean that, look it up. That's all I'm going to say. Look it up and watch it. But these movies are, I don't like dolls. 100%. Don't fucking like dolls. Hate dolls. Once I have kids, don't get them a doll. Not happening. I'm throwing them out. I think they're weird. I think they're creepy. And part of that did come from me watching Chucky, like sneaking and watching Chucky as a kid, and then I scarred myself. My own fault. Totally okay. Whatever. So, with these movies, with The Bride of Chucky, unlike the first three, because the first three are like fucking scary, like a doll comes to life and shit, you know? Bride of Chucky is kind of takes like a comedy, like it is, like a comedy horror film to it. It still keeps that slasher, and it still keeps the scary, but there's also bits of funny in it, which I love. And they kind of like made fun of the franchise itself. Like they made like a parody of Chucky. It doesn't talk about the child possessing the doll. It just focuses on like Chucky as the doll himself, which I thought that was cool. But yeah, if you guys have never seen The Bride of Chucky, it's a fucking great movie. It's hilarious. Jennifer Tilly is fucking amazing. All of the movies that she's in are good when it comes to horror movies. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Go watch it. Okay? And let me know what you fucking think. Next one. This one. So I have some opinions on this one, okay? Hear me out. Sorry, my ring just hit the table. I like this movie. Hate the intro. The movie we are going to discuss is called Scream, the 1996 one. Scream was released on December 20th, 1996. It was directed by Wes Craven. So personally, personally, I think that the opening scene to Scream with Drew Barrymore on the phone with the killer is ridiculous in a way. I thought it was cheesy. Like, seeing that as the first scene, it took me a second to be like, am I really going to continue watching this? But once you get through the first scene, great, amazing, love it. The rest, though, like the first one, with it's so like you can guess what happens, you know? And I like when horror movies open with something where it's like, oh, like nice, and then boom, like something scary. It's like, oh, you got me now. I'm in it now. This doesn't do it. It's like very like, oh, I know exactly what's going to happen within 2 seconds of the movie starting. So, didn't like that, but the rest of the movie is fucking amazing, I will say. Just saying. All of the Scream movies are really good. So, the Scream movie, the 1996 slasher film, was directed by Wes Craven and written by Kevin Williamson. It follows the character of Sidney Prescott, who is played by Neve Campbell, a high school student in the fictional town of Woodsboro, California, who becomes the target of a mysterious killer in a Halloween costume known as Ghostface. It also stars David Arquette, Courtney Cox, Matthew Lillard, Rose McGowan, Skeet Ulrich, and Drew Barrymore. Great fucking lineup, guys. Whoever casted this movie, you did an amazing job. And it's a really good movie. The acting is very good, and I can definitely see why it's become like one of those like cult films, you know, like it has such a big following, and it's so good. When I was younger, my cousin had, do you guys remember those Scream masks, and then they like press the button and like blood starts like going down it? He had one of those, and it fucking terrified me. I would go running in the other direction. That shit scared the shit out of me. So for the longest time, I wouldn't watch these movies because I was like, oh, no thank you. But yeah, and in the movies, it was one of the first ones that the characters in the movies talked about real life horror films and discussed like the cliches of it. So I think like the opening scene, they were like making fun of it. Like the young girl dies, young high school girl dies, and they always make her look stupid. And then she dies, and she like runs the opposite, like whatever. But I was just like, the opening scene didn't do it for me. But the rest of the movie did. It's fucking great. Watch it and thank me later. And then also let me know what you think about the opening scene, because it's an interesting one. So, we have 2 more left. This one, if you haven't seen it, I don't, just turn it off. Turn off the podcast once I say the name. Go watch it and come back and rejoin us, okay? Here's your time. Pause it. Goodbye. Love you. Kisses. Talk to you soon. All right, so now you're back. Here we go. So the next movie that we're talking about is the fucking Blair Witch Project. The iconic Blair Witch Project, released on July 14th, 1999. So the Blair Witch Project was a supernatural horror film written, directed, and edited by Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez. It's based on the true story of 3 student filmmakers, Heather Donahue, Michael C. Williams, and Joshua Leonard, who hike in the Black Hills near Burkittsville, Maryland in 1994 to film a documentary about a local legend known as the Blair Witch. The 3 disappear, but their equipment and footage is discovered a year later. The purportedly, there we go, recovered footage is the film that the viewer sees. So, I don't know if it's ever been confirmed if it's a true story. Part of me wants to continue to think it is, because if not, I feel like it kind of ruins the movie for you. But it's fucking crazy. Absolutely wild. So it said, here's a little bit more background on it. They developed a 35-page screenplay with the dialogue to be improvised. A casting call advertisement in Backstage Magazine was prepared by the directors. Donahue, Williams, and Leonard were cast almost immediately. But yeah, it was a fucking great movie. It's another one of those like cult films. I'm obsessed with like the found footage technique with movies. I do like Paranormal Activity to a certain extent. Those like some of them are really good and some of them it's like, wow, like you shouldn't have made this one. And Cloverfield. I love Cloverfield. I've seen Cloverfield 4-5 times. I think it's a fantastic movie because like I was saying, I love that like found footage technique. It makes it feel more real. You know, it ended up being one of the most successful independent films of all times and the 37th most profitable horror film. Like, it fucking blew up. Rightfully so. Because if you haven't seen this movie, go watch it. Go fucking watch it. This is another one that it's just go watch it and come back because you need to do it. To be a part of us, you need to watch it. I apologize if you don't sleep for a couple days, but after that subsides, promise you it'll be worth it because it's a cult classic. Like, it is such a good fucking movie. Done. I'm moving on. We're on the last one, guys. We're on the last one. So, hopefully, if you know me personally, you know the film I'm about to say. If you don't know me personally, there is a young lady in this movie that I have been told on countless occasions I not only look like, but I also act like. Just to give you a little more insight into my personality. So, the next movie we are going to discuss is the 1991 film, The Addams Family. The Addams Family was based on the characters from the cartoon created by cartoonist Charles Addams and the 1964 TV series produced by David Levy. It was directed by former cinematographer Barry Sonnenfeld in his screen directing debut. The film stars Angelica Houston, who is nominated for a Golden Globe for Morticia Addams, Raul Julia as Gomez Addams, Christopher Lloyd as Uncle Fester, and Christina Ricci as Wednesday Addams. So, guys, I'm just going to pause, let you think. Who do you think they tell me I act like? I'll let you know now. Wednesday Addams. That girl is my fucking spirit animal. And Christina Ricci's version, which I love that her and I have the same name, but Christina Ricci's version is the specific one that there have been times in my life where not only do I act just like her, as far as the things she says, I don't fucking light anyone fire, I don't hurt anyone, everyone's probably like, oh my god, what do you do to people? No, it's not like that. But it's the things she says. She's very quick on her feet. I love her. Love her. She's so sassy. Fucking love her. If you don't know what the Addams family is it's a bizarre aristocratic family who reconnect with who they believe to be a long-lost relative, Gomez's brother Fester Addams, who is actually the adopted son of a loan shark intending to swindle the Addams clan out of their wealth and fortune. So they kind of like take him in because he thinks it's his brother, and it kind of follows the story of what happens there. And that's all I'm gonna say, because you guys need to fucking watch it, because I promise you're not gonna regret it. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. It still has that like dark outlook on it. It's still like kind of creepy, but it's so good and it's so well made. I just love it. I love the Addams Family, the 1991 one. I haven't seen the new cartoon one. I have not yet. I feel like I need to. But I also don't want to imagine Wednesday Addams as anyone else other than Christina Ricci, because I feel like she portrayed her so well. I can't imagine anyone else being Wednesday Addams, you know? If you watch that movie, do you feel the same? Let me know. So guys, those are my favorite 90s horror movies. Let me know in the comments, DM me, email me, wherever, which one is your favorite, if your favorite's on this list. If your favorite I've never seen, I want to know about it, because I love watching horror movies, especially 90s ones, because I feel like 90s horror movies set such a stepping stone and a catapult into what we know now as horror. And it's something that, if you like horror, you should watch 90s horror movies. Like, they're cult classics. You have to, because almost every horror movie now in some way pays tribute to those horror movies, because they literally paved the way for so many good movies to come. So that's my advice for the day. Also, my advice, go vote. Guys, we are so close. November 3rd is on Tuesday. Go fucking vote. Let's do it, because we have to get that motherfucker out of office. Okay? Okay? I'm actually doing some unconscious bias and diversity and stuff like that training right now. Excuse me. And just the stories that I'm reading about and the unjust issues that are in our country, systemic racism, misogynistic people, the diminishing of Black Lives Matter and the LGBTQ community is not something that we can stand for. We need to pave the way for the next generations to come and show them how and why you should be treating these people this way. You want to know the reason why? You should be treating people with respect and kindness, because they're fucking human and they deserve that. They don't need any other reason. They are a living, breathing human. Just like the same way you would love and respect animals and not hurt them, do the same thing to people, no matter their skin tone, no matter where they are, no matter where they're from, no matter what their sexual orientation is. I don't want to fucking hear it. Be nice, be kind, stick up for people, be fucking cuz. Ugh. I hate to bring the Bible into this, but they always say, love thy neighbor. We're not doing a lot of it right now, guys. Everyone's turning against each other. But it's because people genuinely think that treating people differently just because of their color of their skin or their sexual orientation or who they want to vote for is okay. And it's not. So don't do it. At all. That's not nice. Huh. And so, if we have a president in office that endorses that behavior and does not condemn it, how the fuck is it gonna change? It's not. So, the only way for it to change is he needs to get out of office. He cannot have another 4 years. Because if he gets another 4 years, who knows what this country is gonna look like. That's my spiel for the day. This shit's been making me angry lately. The news is stressing me out because it pisses me off seeing people treated like this. I want to grab people and shake them because it makes me so angry. Like, why would you do that? I can't. So, if it's not clear, I 100% support Black Lives Matter, and you should too. I support the LGBTQ community. I support Joe Biden coming in and getting Donald Trump out of office. I'm not saying he's a fucking perfect candidate by any means, but he's better than Trump. Okay, guys? And that's all we got. So, we got to do something. That's it. I'm over it. This isn't a political podcast, but I wanted to put that out there. It's making me angry. And hopefully maybe you'll listen to me and you'll change your views. If not, that's fine. Totally understand if you don't want to listen to me. I'm just some girl on the internet. But come on. We can do better. So on that note, guys, this episode is now over. You guys stay spooky, stay safe. Don't forget to enter into the giveaway. And if you want to just chat, message me wherever. That's what I'm here for. Would love to talk with you guys. So, yeah. You guys have a fantastic weekend, a safe Halloween, safe holiday. Socially distance, please. Don't go out a lot, or don't go out any, because that's how we're going to spread it. And then we get stuck in quarantine again, and no one wants that. Okay? So let's love each other and support each other. All right? All right. So I will catch you guys in the next episode. Bye, guys.